Hello, Aries. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of July 2025. Almost said 2027. Whoo! Let's not push it that fast. We have a lot going on for the month, so let's not waste any time. As always, we are going to pull an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week, clarify that with more tarot, as well as discuss the astrological transits that are occurring during those weeks, and then wrap it up with some additional oracle guidance. So let's see what you guys need to know for the month of July. Emotions are running high. You guys have got Saturn and Neptune going retrograde within the first like 3 weeks of your sign. So if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling a bit stressed out, you can blame it on that maybe. You can blame it on that. It'll be okay. No one will know. I won't tell. Let's see why your emotions are running a bit high. Oops, I just hit the camera with my head. Here in the first week, we have the Five of Cups in reverse, the Three of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, and then here, the Hermit in reverse. Well, that doesn't seem so bad. That does not seem so bad. Here in the first week, the Five of Cups in reverse can represent moving on or letting go of regret and disappointment, right? Letting go of maybe sad feelings that maybe you've been holding on to, disappointments that you've been holding on to. Here in this first week, on the 4th, literally like everything's happening on July 4th, Venus, the planet of love, money, beauty, value, aesthetic, is going to be making a conjunction. It's going to be sitting right next to the planet Uranus. Uranus is known as the Great Awakener or the Great Disruptor. And that's going to happen right before she moves into the sign of Gemini. So it's going to happen at the 29th degree, which is known as an anaretic degree, but it's also a degree of letting go and endings, right? So it could be that maybe you're hanging on, or maybe something that you've been hanging on to from the past, a loss, a disappointment, a regret, you're finally able to release and let go of. This can feel like a a sudden shakeup with Uranus being there. Kind of like Uranus is coming off. I said this in another video, but it's like a piggy bank with a penny. It's like the last penny, and you've got the piggy bank upside down, and you're just shaking everything up to get that last penny out. But when that penny finally falls out, it's silence, and it feels peaceful. Okay? Right before that happens, then we have Neptune going retrograde within the sign of Aries. It's going retrograde within your sign. So this could be letting go of any delusions. This could be letting go of any dreams that maybe haven't come to fruition, that maybe you felt regretful or disappointed in, because this is happening within your sign. This could be things that maybe you've been carrying around as if they have things that you've identified with, that they didn't come to fruition because of you in some way, right? Because you govern things like the sense of self. So it could be things that are tied to your identity. Okay, so we're going within, and maybe you're finally reevaluating those things, we're rethinking those things so that you can ultimately let them go. Here in the second week, we have the Three of Cups. This is celebration, harmony, friendships. This is collaboration, a celebration, like leaning on a support system, basically, okay? On the 7th, Uranus is moving into the sign of Gemini. For you guys, Gemini rules your 3rd house. This is your house of thinking and communication. So you could be a little bit more innovative with how you speak. You could be more, I just heard like hive mind. Like there's, because we're looking at 3 or more energies at play, but it's like a collaborative effort, brainstorming for the future, brainstorming like innovative ideas, innovative discussions, right? Really, maybe even working together with others in a way that feels very much like a support system, like the collective, right? Doing something with other people for the benefit of the collective. On the 10th, we have a full moon happening within the sign of Capricorn. Full moons are a buildup of energy, and they have the tendency to trigger our emotional bodies because the moon governs our emotional state. Full moons are a buildup and a leading to a release. And for you guys, Capricorn sits in your 10th house. This is your house of career. So maybe something occurs around the full moon, something exciting happens, a collaborative effort even happens, and you're celebrating that around the full moon. Here in the third week, we've got the Seven of Pentacles. This is slow and intentional energy. This is earth sign energy. This is really being mindful of the seeds that you're planting, tending to your garden, tending to the things that you actually want to see come to fruition in the future. On the 13th, Saturn is going to go retrograde within your sign. Okay, so this feels more about self-discipline than anything else, being a little bit more disciplined, slowing down, and being more intentional with the seeds that you're watering and that you're tending to. On the 18th, Mercury is also going to go retrograde within the sign of Leo. For you guys, Leo sits in your 5th house. This is your house of self-expression and creativity. So you could be, again, slowing things down and rethinking creative projects that you're investing in. Here in the last week, we have the Hermit in reverse. This could be analysis paralysis, overthinking, being a little too closed off and not wanting to go back out in the world. Or this could mean that you kind of receive this change of heart, this enlightenment, and you're ready to proceed forward. In this week, we have Leo season happening on the 22nd. Anytime we shift into a new season, the signs and qualities of that season take center stage. With Leo, this is bold, this boldness, it's courage, it's this limelight, it's the center of attention. It can be pride and ego if we're not careful. It can be bravado, whether that's real bravado, real confidence, or false confidence, right? But those themes are going to be taking place over the next several weeks. So if you know a Leo, make sure that you wish them a happy Leo season. If you don't, they will remind you. On the 24th, the new moon is going to occur within the sign of Leo. So new moons are a blank slate, and they are an opportunity to set intentions. And for you guys, Leo sits in your 5th house. This is your self-expression. This is your creativity. This is your children. This is the house of children and one-off love affairs. So it could be that this new moon, you're setting intentions. I would ideally maybe do it around the things that Mercury retrograde is revealing, since Mercury is retrograde within that sign. On the 30th, Chiron is going to go retrograde within your sign as well. There's a lot happening in your sign. This is a lot of reevaluation of things and rethinking things, but Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And for Aries, this is the wounded sense of self, right? Wounds around our identity, wounds around how people see us, okay? On the 31st, Venus is moving into the sign of Cancer. Venus, the planet of love, money, beauty, value, and aesthetic, is moving into the sign of Cancer. Cancer is your 4th home, so you may be more inclined to just stay at home. You may be more inclined to be a little bit more hermit mode and like just be very reluctant and resistant of coming out of that shell. And you could also feel a little bit more protective over the things that you value, maybe just wanting to nurture the things that you value a little bit more. On the 31st, Mercury is going to create a cazimi with the sun in Leo. Mercury is still retrograde, okay? So anytime we experience a cazimi, it is when a planet comes into very close proximity with the sun. And as a result, the sun is amplifying, the sun's light is amplifying the qualities and themes of that planet. And for, again, with Mercury, this is thoughts, ideas, communication, and messages. And with it being retrograde, this could be like profound insight and inspiration that maybe you choose to move forward with. So let's see what else we have to say. What else does the tarot have to say? Here in the first week, the Five of Cups in reverse, the Nine of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So sometimes the Five of Cups can represent that we're kind of still holding on to this pity party. Okay, ideally we are healing, we are letting go, we are moving on, we are pouring out the cups of sadness and disappointment and regret that we've been holding on to. But sometimes we're choosing to stay there. And for some of you, it's because you're keeping your guard up. You're like, I don't want the same thing to happen again. I don't want the same thing to happen again. I don't want to do this again. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. My walls are up. My guard is up. If that's the case, then the Wheel of Fortune, you're trying to control too much. You're trying to control any feelings of sadness or regret that you've been experiencing, because you're afraid that if I put my guard down, I'm going to get hurt again. But here's the kicker. That's the thing about duality. That's the thing about two sides to every coin, is that in order for us to be open enough to receive things like happiness and achievement and love and friendship, we can't keep that guard up. In order for us to be able to receive it, we also have to be willing to take on the risk of getting hurt by it. That's the kicker, right? For some of you, you're choosing to heal, and it could be that your guard is still up, but you're going to take things slowly with the Wheel of Fortune. Just be mindful that it doesn't step into the realm of trying to control things, because then you could inadvertently block your own growth and block the energy from actually moving forward. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to take things slow and step by step, but just be mindful that it doesn't go into control, okay? Here in the second week, we have the Three of Cups, the Ten of Swords, and the Page of Cups. This almost feels like there's something that you're choosing to lean on others about, maybe feelings of hurt and betrayal that maybe you're choosing to express to others. And as a result of you kind of opening up and letting others in, you kind of receive this message of healing, receive this message of intuitive guidance, right? Because again, when we're closed off, when we have our guard up, we're not really in a position to receive anything, whether that is our own intuition, whether that is help from supportive system, like feeling supported by your friendships and your closest circles. If we're closed off, we can't receive, right? So it looks like maybe here in the second week, maybe relying on that support system, choosing to go out and celebrate with friends, just have a good time. Just have a good time can actually maybe put an end to a lot of the worry and the anxiety and the fears that you've been having and actually put you in a position to either deliver a message of healing or receive that message of healing and intuitive insight. Here in the third week, the Seven of Pentacles, the Two of Cups in reverse. Could be that you're taking things slow. You're going to reevaluate what you're really investing your time into, specifically creative projects, because maybe you're trying to realign your heart and your mind. Maybe you're overcoming a sense of rejection with the Two of Cups in reverse, because the Two of Cups in reverse represents that something is not in alignment and you're needing to maybe reevaluate those things. What do I really want to invest my time into? And then the Four of Cups, looking at the cups that bring you joy, looking at the cups that truly bring you fulfillment, looking at the cups that actually make you feel, I don't want to say whole, but actually provide life to your life. What gives you life? Maybe focusing on those particular things, and as a result, kind of being present enough to receive a divine gift. Here in the last week, the Hermit. And again, with Mercury and Saturn going retrograde, this is a lot to do. It feels like a lot to do with what you're truly investing your time into. Saturn is discipline, it's structure, it's time. What are you genuinely investing your time into? Because there's a realignment that needs to occur. And it feels like this slow time, this time of reevaluation is actually going to bring a sense of enlightenment that's actually going to help you move forward. So just because things are retrograde does not automatically make it a bad thing. The Hermit in reverse, Strength in reverse, and the Six of Cups in reverse. Interesting. So like I said, with the Hermit being in reverse and then Venus moving into Cancer, your fourth house, it very much feels like you're wanting to just stay in your shell. You're wanting to stay in your little hermit shell, and you're not really wanting to come out. You're not, even though you've maybe received this profound inspiration, maybe you're overthinking it because you don't feel quite confident enough in it yet to step forward. If that's the case, the Six of Cups is saying there's a need to address maybe where this is coming from. Where is this fear coming from? Where is this worry coming from? When it comes to stepping forward out with this new sense of enlightenment. Let's see what the Oracle has to say. Overall, I think the energy it looks fairly smooth. It almost looks like one step actually begins to lead to another. But with you, emotions running high, this feels a lot like anxiety, a lot feeling like a sense of uncertainty. And with these retrogrades occurring, that doesn't necessarily surprise me, especially because they're happening all in your first house. They are happening all in your first house, which is your sense of self, right? It's how other people view you. Your first house represents your first impression that people get of you. So I would say that all of it that's occurring is trying to get you to maybe slow down, and is trying to get you to really reevaluate how you show up to others. It doesn't mean sacrificing your authenticity for the sake of people pleasing, but it can have you rethinking, what is the first impression that I give people, and is that the first impression that I want to continue to give others? Here in the first week, murky waters, a lot of uncertainty, right? Here, this is card number 10. 10 is a finale. It's the result of a completion, right? It's the final chapter. So with the Five of Cups, it could be realizing that you need to heal and move on and maybe let go of some of these regrets. It could be realizing where you need to heal and where you still have your guard up, right? Where you're still blocking your own growth because there's this hesitancy, there's this guard that kind of keeps you separated from other people. Multiple streams. This feels very much like a collaborative effort. Very much like I said, leaning on support system and maybe even receiving divine information or divine guidance, either through leaning on that support system or just going out and actually allowing yourself to have fun with the Three of Cups. Again, this is the full moon in Capricorn, so this is your house of career. This is your house of public image and your house of reputation. And again, with Uranus moving into Gemini, this is your third house of community, like local community. It is also your house of siblings and cousins. Okay, so maybe you're getting together with some siblings, maybe people, cousins that you're very, very close to, and it actually provides this sense of inspiration. So this multiple streams feels like if you've been feeling stuck creatively or in your career, maybe not knowing what to do, not knowing what next step to take in certain areas, this is going to provide that insight. That 10 of Swords that's happening right here is like the end of, it feels like a mental block. So that sounds lovely. Gentleness. And here, gentleness, I love how these two, they've got birds in them. This one's surrounded by feathers. Realigning your heart and your mind, realigning your values, right? Being gentle with yourself as you move through this cycle of growth, because this is card number 7. Being gentle with yourself, giving yourself some grace and a little bit of compassion as you really begin to reevaluate what it is that you're actually investing your time into. Disconnect. You're gonna go into hermit mode. Like you do not feel like coming out, and maybe you shouldn't. Maybe with these retrogrades happening, there's something here that's coming up that needs to be reevaluated. And the only way that that's going to do it is if you allow yourself to actually disconnect. Okay, so I truly hope this helped. And actually, before I close this out, this can also be, with this disconnection happening, it almost can also, for some of you, be applied to disconnecting to that fear, disconnecting from that anxiety, disconnecting from that ego part that leads to a sense of unhappiness, or the ego part that leads back to unhappy childhood memories. But finally allowing yourself to disconnect from that and move on from it. Okay? So I truly hope this helped. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you next time.